Hello guys, welcome to BST Weekly. I'm the regular host, Joey Kane, and here's my sometimes sidekick, Tim Blacker. Tim, it's good to have you back, mate. How was it?
Well, thank you. First of all, it's good to be back. I've missed a lot since I've been away. Of course, the big Essendon drug scandal was all that you kept telling me about when I was overseas. But look, you guys did a wonderful job covering that, and now I've come back and footy's here, so we can just talk about that, which is what we all like. But on the trip as well, it was fantastic. Thank you, Joey.
No, the viewers out at home, they've written to us in the private messages and the direct messages on Twitter. There is something fishy about the timing that you left Australia and the timing that the drug scandal happened. If I'm not 100% correct here, you left Thursday morning, was it?
Yes, I did.
And the press conference with Justin Clare and the other heads of the sporting codes was Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m. Tim, is there any type of coincidence in that?
Well, we'll try not to get BST Weekly drawn into anything, Joe. We might just skip by that. But look, what a massive story. And it's an unfortunate start to the year. But as I said, footy's back. And it all kicked off this week, of course, with the second week of the NAB Cup and their little try series that they experiment. I noticed last week you're not the biggest fan of it, and neither am I, particularly either. But look, let's get straight into it. Friday night, you had North Melbourne, and Richmond. Look, three really interesting teams, really, to see how they're going to go this year. I mean, Richmond, of course, we hear it every year, don't we? You know, talk about this is going to be their year. And, you know, as we said in our preview shows, they have to do it now. It's time for them to step up. You know, then you got North Melbourne, played finals last year. They'd love to be there again. And Melbourne, of course, we all know what a shocking year they had last year as well.
I know it's NAB Cup, but the Demons in particular, I want to just touch on quickly. They looked pretty solid. I think Shannon Burns looked in ripping form. He really dominated that game in patches. And I know you're a big fan of David Roden as well.
Yeah, not a huge... Well, big fan isn't really the word. I'm just a fan. I like the way he goes about it.
You like his dancing and his shirtlessness.
No, that's not for me, personally. But I think... I'm not entirely sure it's the path Melbourne needed to go down. But look... it'll just be interesting to see how it goes for them. But Chrissy Dawes, of course, another one that went down there. Didn't really have a great 2 games. Was pretty quiet in both games. Let's hope
that's a doomsday scenario for me. That Chris Dawes, the one thing that Chris Dawes couldn't do is in his first appearance for Melbourne, come off with a couple of handballs and no marks.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's the worst possible result.
Well, in the first game against North Melbourne, I'm just looking at it here, Joe, he had 1 kick, 2 handballs and a mark and didn't do anything on the scoreboard. So from your key forward, look, that's not what you want at all. And, you know, will Winey play better throughout the year? I don't really know, to be honest. What do you think?
Oh, well, what evidence do we have to say that he will improve? I don't think there's any. Last year he didn't show any signs. The NAB Cup, he just had to show something, just anything. He had to give us something. But, yeah, doomsday scenario for me. Couldn't have gone worse for Chris Dawes and the Melbourne Footy Club with that. But you touched on quickly that you didn't think it was the path Melbourne should take picking up mature age recruits. I reckon in the long term they're knackered because the talent coming through the Ds isn't awe-inspiring, especially when you put it up against teams like the expansion clubs and you know other teams with good talent, young talent coming through like Freo and that. Yeah. But short term, I reckon this year they'll have a better year. They'll be more competitive with those guys.
Well, yeah, marginally better, I think. But still, I don't think you can say that it's going to be an outstanding year for them. I think they might still struggle. But look, you know, they kicked off their year against and the Tri Series against North Melbourne there, and North got up by 2 points in the end. North led for the majority of the game, you know, but Melbourne kept plugging away. Could have, in fact, pinched it late, and, you know, in a way, North were sort of a bit lucky to get the win, but, I mean, it's good for North Melbourne as well.
It is good for North. I know a lot of North fans that are really excited by these 2 wins, and they're looking towards this season with pretty open heart and open eyes and, you know, looking to push into the top 8 and do some damage. I can't see that happening, but it's a good start for them. That's for sure.
Oh, I mean, well, you've just got to win at the end of the day, don't you? And really, that's what you get judged on. Yeah. So look, it'll be interesting to see how they go for sure.
And our number one player on the show, Majak Dor, sensational debut for him, and really, really seriously has to be looked at as an up and coming star. I know we copped a bit. We copped a bit for pumping up Majak Dor's tyres, but we've been proved right once again, and to all the doubters. Unfortunately, we're right on this one, but I think we will be.
Look, he was outstanding, Joe. There's no doubt about that. He didn't have a ton of the ball by any means, but I mean, he's this not in the same caliber Ruckman. Don't get me wrong here, but he's he's flashy and he makes things happen, and over time he will become more consistent, much in the mould of. Obviously not as good as, but sort of a lesser version of Nick Nat. When Nick Nat first came on the scene, he was playing very good football because he was a high draft pick, but he was sort of in and out of games to an extent, but now he's proved himself to be a consistent performer.
Well, I'm not sure if we can get it up here, but the highlights of him, his palm off and goal was just absolutely sensational, and gee, any football follower would be excited by that one.
Yeah, I mean... isn't it what we love to see, the old don't argue? It's just fantastic. But just another man from North Melbourne I want to mention, Jordan Gisbert. We mentioned him as well. Of course, crossed over from the Ds. He's had 7 kicks, 2 handballs, 2 marks in his first little stint for the Kangaroos there against the Ds. So it's not a bad effort.
Not a bad little return. Didn't excite me that much for the eye test, but no, not the worst stats. I'll tell you who did look good though, and looks to be changing. In the period where players come through, they start off as boys and they become men, and it's a real obvious change, and it happens normally in an off season, but sometimes it happens during the year. But you know what I mean. That Sam Wright for mine has become a man and will play accordingly this year. I think he'll take another step up. Yeah,
he's a good player. Very flexible. Can play in numerous positions as well, which just makes him so handy in this day and age. But I've always thought he was a decent player, but as you said, he's done a lot of work in the gym over the summer. Obviously, he looks bigger, and that's only going to benefit him.
Yes,
for sure. But we'll just skip on to the second game of the night. Richmond come out fresh and defeat Melbourne 30-15. Look, it's not an overly big surprise for me. The first 2 weeks we've seen the side that's come out second have a good record against the first side.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't pay too much credence into that. I think it works both ways. If you're backing up after a game, I think you get the jump on the team that's coming out fresh. But certainly they run it out better. Definitely, you'd think.
Yeah. Well, Richmond led this one. Melbourne were actually never in front in this game, so Richmond were pretty much always in control. And look, for them, it's a good start.
Oh, of course it is. They need to
on a big season.
Round 1. They need to win that game for their whole season. If they don't, and it happens every year, they come in with so much expectation and pressure and get blown out of the water against Carlton every year in round 1 on the Thursday. It won't be. I don't think it is this year.
No, they haven't got this.
But they still need to win. They need to win round 1 and to set their season off on the right track. They need to have a winning record. Come the buys, I think it's round 12 for them, or not round 12 13.
Sure,
they need to have a winning record of 7-5 or whatever the case may be. For mine, if there any chance, they need to have a winning record at that stage of the year.
Yeah, definitely. And just highlighting a few new guys from Richmond. Ricky Pettit, of course, came across from Melbourne. He had a decent little game there. 8 possessions, 4 marks and a tackle in there. So look, he's really going to try and stamp himself on it and get himself in. Big Ivan was good in the ruck, carried on 14 hit-outs there and 5 odd possessions and a couple of marks. So, look, that's his good form continuing on. And who else can I see down the list here? Chrissy Knights didn't play till his second game, but yeah, they have got a few new faces down there.
They have, and exciting times. If they started off on the right foot again.
Yeah.
I just want to make that really stick because it's important for mine.
Yeah, exactly. And on to the third game. This was a great game, actually. Both sides led for certain periods of the game. North Melbourne got there in the end.
Yep.
I think it was a last-minute goal, wasn't it, in the last bit there?
Yeah, it went quite close, yeah.
Yeah, so who was it? I don't know. I can't remember. I'm trying to go off the cuff there. But look, a really good game of footy, though, from what I did see. And two sides, as we said, who are going to be sort of fighting for that same position.
Well, it was competitive. And in the NAB Cup, we don't always see that type of footy.
Yeah.
I think it might have been the Melbourne game even where Big Tyrone Vickery fired up and had a bit of a crack on the boundary there. But I like that in the NAB Cup. A bit of mongrel, a bit of fight, a bit of competitiveness, get the competitive juices flowing, and it's good to watch that type of footy instead of some of the lacklustre stuff from some other teams we saw that we'll talk about a little bit later in the show.
Yeah. Well, it's two guys here. Of course, as I said, Chrissy Knight's first appearance for the Tigers. Picked up 8 possessions. I think he'll be a really good player for them across half forward this year. And sorry if I'm incorrect here. Vlastuin, is that how they say it down there?
I think it's Vlosten. I think it's
Vlosten.
But a bit of
yeah, well, he got 9 possessions and a mark and a tackle as well. So that's a good start for the young fella as well.
He looks really good.
Yeah,
that kid. Big raps on him, I know, and that's not saying anything special, but he's backed it up so far.
No, exactly.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Actually, I thought I'll bring it up now.
Yeah.
In the NAB Cup, and this is gonna sound. Don't get me wrong here, but I don't mean Vlostuin in particular. I definitely don't. But we see last week with guys like Need and I think last year's NAB Cup, last season's Reece Kuyu, guys like this. They come out, the smaller type guys, smaller crumbing forwards, come out, and for some reason, every year in the NAB Cup, small crumbing forwards play out of their skin and they look like they're going to have the best years ever, and it never continues on. I don't know, there's no real follow-up to that, but that's just a point that I want to make.
Yeah, season's a grind, isn't it? It's a long season, it's a tough old ride. I don't know, maybe just... you can't really...
No follow-up to it, but I just want to make a point, because it seems to be all these games I'm watching, all these small forwards, not drawing any other comparisons, but small forwards in particular, they, have awesome NAB Cups, and then go, who knows where, they go walkabout during the year. So. Oh, well,
as you said, it's an interesting one, but that's a good little segue, because I know you watched this next tri-series between Gold Coast, Brisbane and Hawthorn very closely on Saturday night there, and a man who can play as a small forward down there, but generally through the mid and whatnot, but Harley Bennell, I know you thought he played outstanding in the Gold Coast Suns 30-29 win over the Hawks, which is a great win for them, by the way, even though it is NAB Cup.
Look, this was... I know the Gold Coast Suns had a treacherous, horrendous year last year, only 3 games to the win, and they came out with the, I suppose, idea that they needed to get some wins in the NAB Cup to boost the confidence of the young guys.
Yeah.
And they've knocked off in their first game a Hawthorn Footy Club who they didn't have Sewell, they didn't have Lewis, they didn't have Mitchell. Outside of those 3 guys, I mean Alice and that, but that's not... They were pretty full strength. Certainly the back line was full strength. Brian Lake played, Gibson played, Buddy played, Rioli played. So they were a pretty strong side, and this Gold Coast team has come out and lucky free kick at the death. It was a draw, and they after the siren, spooky Luke Russell has kicked it behind to get them over the line. And you look at some of at some points during this game, the Gold Coast Suns midfield were whipping the ball around as fast as lightning from one end to the other, and they were
quick hands from what I saw.
Absolutely,
really, really quick hands, which was the thing I noticed the most. But look, a win's a win, and for a club trying to establish themselves in the league, I think it's fantastic for them. Just a couple of guys. I'm going to bounce a few names off you, Joe. I just want you to let me know how they went. I'll start, with Harley Bennell. He had 7 possessions, 3 marks, and 2 goals. 2 goals won.
Well, he won the Indigenous All-Stars medal, and it's a really good field that he played in that. They played against Richmond, and he played in the Indigenous All Stars team. He won that with some great players on his team. So I think he should get the #1 tag this year.
Yep. Over Ablett.
I would say that Ablett would push forward.
Ablett's nearly untaggable.
Yeah, exactly. You can't take Ablett.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, what other ones do I want to bounce off here? Jaeger O'Meara, how did he go?
Big raps on him.
7 possessions in a mark there.
Yeah,
from what I see.
Solid. And the raps on him, I don't think he'll live up to the lofty expectations that have been placed on him already. I think he'll be a solid player, but nothing more than that in his first year. Has the potential.
Yeah. Greg Broughton, how did he go? From Freo, obviously, he had 8 possessions, 2 marks there.
Yeah, I question his disposal at times, but
where did he play, by the way? Did he play forward or back?
No, he floated across half back, so he did pick up a few cheapies there, and his disposal and decision making at times was a little bit iffy, but I mean, nothing to, he'll be a good player. Fantasy king for all those fantasy players out there. He'll get a lot of it.
Yeah. Oh well. It's an interesting. I hope they do play him across the back line for me.
He wants to play there.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's where he should play. I think. How did just the last one from me? How did Buddy go?
Well, I actually thought Buddy looked really sluggish. He didn't seem particularly interested.
Yeah.
But I thought Rory Thompson did a really, really good job on him, and even if Buddy wanted to, he was pretty blanketed. He reminded me of the Chris Tarrant job in the Premier League final a couple of years ago, where he was completely blanketed. But Hawthorn probably, this isn't #1 on their list of priorities, winning these Southern NAB Cup games, so nothing to worry about there.
Yeah, nothing overly, but look, all in all, it's a great win for Gold Coast there.
Yep.
What was the next game there? Brisbane Lions came out and then whipped Hawthorn around a little bit, actually, 32-11, but they've kicked 4 goals, 8, so it could have been a bit worse for Hawthorn.
Brisbane come out looking serious. They
looked good, didn't they? And we got a bit of ridicule as well. And I know it's only NAB Cup, and I know we've said this a lot, but they just look a bit bigger. The Cubs down there at the Lions, they look a bit faster. They look better. I think Brett Maloney is a fantastic pickup for them.
I hate Brett Maloney.
You do?
I hate him as a person, and I hate him as a player.
Yeah, well, I don't mind him. Brisbane fans, I think he was fantastic for you and will be great this year. But Daniel Rich is another one who I thought played some pretty good footy as well.
I don't think you can underestimate the importance of continuity in a group playing together. And the R's, your Rich, Rockcliffe, Reddens, these type of guys have been playing together now for a good 3+ seasons, and I think they're starting to really learn each other's skill sets and their type of decisions that they make, and it's just working for them at the minute, and I think they'll be decent this year.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, did Brian Lake play in that second game? Against the Lions?
Against the Lions, I'm not 100% sure on that.
Just looking through, no he didn't.
No,
he didn't. How was he, switching, how was he in the first game against the Suns?
Did
he play back?
He played back. And freed Gibson up to be that loose man role that he so loves so much. But Brian Lake 3 years ago you'd have him as your best top 3, if not the best guerrilla defender. And I call them guerrilla defenders not because of the way they look, even though Brian Lake gives it a fair shake, but I call them guerrilla defenders, the big, what I'm talking about, the big monster, and they take the big monster key forwards. I don't know if Brian Lake's up to it anymore, and I don't think there's enough guerrilla key forwards for him to warrant him playing 22 games this year.
Or does he go forward?
I don't like it. I think Roughedge and Buddy,
and
the Brewster's, solid as well. So I think they should play him. They should, 6 or 7, 8 games, monitor him, work him into finals, and play him in the big finals where it really is important to sit underneath the ball and be effective in that sort of way. But the game has moved so far away from kicking it up and hoofing it in and putting on a key forward's head, which Brian Lake's at his best defending that. But in finals, you need to have a player who can defend that. So I think play him in finals, not for 22 rounds.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Hawthorn go winless. Although, don't be too concerned with that. I wouldn't think they'll come out on Friday and absolutely destroy the Western Bulldogs for mine.
Yep. And you weren't in Australia for the Western Bulldogs game, but
I did see it though.
You did?
I did, yes. I did see it in a sports bar overseas.
What were your thoughts on that one?
Western Bulldogs have played their cards and they embarrassed themselves really. They went in full strength and got pushed around. I know they played quite well in the first half against Collingwood, but in the second half, Collingwood just destroyed them, and Essendon battered them as well, from what I can remember.
Embarrassed is the key word. They were atrocious.
They were really, really poor, Joey. Neither Collingwood or Essendon were at full strength, and they were throwing around like ragdoll. So
they'll win the spoon this year.
I had them bottom two, but
no, they will. I reckon. Seriously, they're going to have a terrible year, unfortunately, for the Doggies fans.
It's not good down there.
No.
But look, back to the last game. So as I said, Hawthorn go winless. That left it to the Suns and the Lions to fight out who went through with 2 wins. And look, the Lions have come out and again they played really, really well. They got two late super goals in the first half, I think, which blew it open a little bit.
The Suns got up by a couple of goals. I think it was 14 points to 0 at one stage early on, and then Brisbane kicked a couple of goals, then they kicked a couple of super goals, and it broke the back of a very much undermanned Gold Coast side, but a very, very good-looking Brisbane side at the same time. Yeah.
Well, I was really impressed by Brisbane and Gold Coast as well. But again, I like to bounce names off you. Yep. The first pick there, of Gold Coast, Jesse Lonigan. How did he look?
He's big. He's AFL ready. He had to lose a bit of puppy fat to get down to sort of AFL playing body shape. Looks good, hard at it. Will play 10 to 16 games this year for mine.
Yeah, that's a good sign. Just on the Brisbane stats here, Mitch Golby looked like he played pretty well. Picked up 12 possessions and 5 marks. Mitch Golby, of course, did play last year, just for one certain member of our audience, and I hope he sees that. But I've always thought he was a good rebounding defender. How did he play?
Well, just to clarify,
I had to get that.
Just to clarify that, you've been sitting on that one for a few weeks, about a month or so now.
Well, yeah, I was brewing on it. It's fair to say.
You mentioned that what happened when we went through the Brisbane side for the year. You said Mitch Golby played some really good games last year, and I think the member of the audience may have said something on the lines of good games of FIFA sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
We went back and it didn't take long. It wasn't hard to check the stats. Maybe he should have checked the stats. And he did play, I think it was about 13. That might stitch me up there. But anyway, we push on.
He definitely played last year. Let's just say that. So
no, he did look good. He's a good kid.
Yeah, member of the audience, we don't like you. If you're going to criticise us, please justify yourself with backing it up. Now, I've never had a crack at anyone because I love all our fans on BST.
What I'll do is you'll see it come up in a second. I'm going to put it up on the screen, and we'll put the little thing over the top. You're in the BST bad books. Number 1, the first one on the BST blacklist.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, well, you are missing out, my good man. Now, Big AC as well there. Aaron Cornelius there for Brisbane as well. He can take a really good mark overhead. Of course, former Tassie boy. Actually played cricket against him at one stage.
How did he go? Roll the arm over? Or?
He hit... It was only school cricket, so it was a bit haphazard, but he hit one of our lesser players for 20-something and over. So, Big AC was good on all fronts, but
by your lesser players, you mean you?
Definitely not.
No.
I didn't get to bowl to him, but no, seriously though, I think he could be a really good forward for them. I'm still not sure if he's big enough to be one of the 2 keys, but a third tall, I think he can be pretty good.
Yep, if he fits into the third tall role, he'll fill it with aplomb. He is exciting. I'm looking forward to watching him this year. He's a really exciting type of guy, and you like to see that. Yeah,
exactly. So move on to Sunday now. Of course, we had GWS, Carlton and Sydney. All the talk about Mickey Moldhouse, his first game in charge of Carlton, and well, they limped over the last hurdle against the GWS Giants, and just got him after GWS led pretty much all game.
I stayed up very late watching the game last night because I was busy attending the Melbourne Hearts, who had a lovely little 3-1 win over the $7.6 million salary capped Sydney FC. But we push on from that. No, look, I watched that game late last night and I thought to myself, early on, GWS looked on fire.
It's amazing how much pre-season can do. They already look bigger, they look stronger. Look, I still don't think they'll win more than 5 games this year, but they will be a very good side.
Jonathan Giles looked, in particular, looked really, really good.
Yeah, Jeremy Cameron played well as well, big pattern as well, but there are good signs down there. And yes, Carlton got the win, but would they be... I didn't actually... Did they play... Would they be happy with that win, or... Because, as I said, GWS been in front all game.
They were down and out, Carlton, and it just took not really much at all. They just started to win more of the... Well, they'd bring the ball to ground, and GWS would just mop it up, basically, was what was happening. And Cade Simpson, in particular, started to win a few loose balls and contested balls on the ground, and they started to get the ball moving forward their own way. And as soon as that happened, like a light bulb, they clicked into gear, and the momentum switch was so evident. It was I've barely ever seen a more polar opposite game. And the way they were playing towards the end of that game, GWS wouldn't have kicked a score bigger than 30 if they played a proper AFL match like that.
Jeez. Yeah, well,
seriously, they were impressive in that second. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And especially some of their big guys like Levi Casbolt, in particular for mine, he was the big one.
Big Hammer looks like he did all right in the ruck.
Yeah, he did. He'll play that Leroy Brown role at Collingwood that Mick Malthouse likes to have, I think. And yeah, they looked really good.
Oh, good. How did Lockie Whitfield go? Of course, #1 draft pick.
Yep. He showed signs, didn't he?
Showed signs? Oh, I didn't see it. So.
He showed signs, and he's kicked. I think his first ever kick, he kicked down the full. But apart from that, he looked really good. Mm-hmm. I think they had the stats up there, and they showed his endurance was elite, and that his explosiveness, or something, or a stupid thing, was below par. But he looks like he can read the play. So good old fashioned, good footy player.
Yeah, and. Second-year player there, Anthony Miles, had 14 possessions and 3 marks and 6 tackles.
Yep.
Pretty that's a good stat line. Yep. Yeah, for a shortened game. I know they have got a high raps on him up there, so expect him to play a lot more games this year than he did last year, from what I've heard.
Yeah, of course he will. I think they'll continue to rotate almost their whole list of kids through and get minimum 5 games into everyone on their list, so they know what they're looking at come season. Then when they have to delist a few more guys and their list space drops down a few numbers. Yeah,
definitely. On to Carlton versus Sydney. Look, never read anything into Sydney's pre-season form. They take no interest in pre-season competition at all. As a result, they've been belted by Carlton pretty much from the outset. And Carlton impressive again under me.
I was almost 30-something to no score at some point. So it was pissing down rain by that stage, and they were not interested, and Carlton were mildly interested, which gave them a massive win. So I don't think we need to spend any time on that game. It was not one that I'll remember.
No, exactly not. But look, it's only pre-season, isn't it?
Yeah.
As I said, Sydney don't take it with interest. But look, the last game there, the Giants... so Carlton finished with 2 wins, as do North Melbourne, Brisbane and Collingwood from the NAB Cup. But just the last one there, GWS have finally beaten their Sydney rivals. Again, they've really pantsed them in the end. Sydney never in front, 52-28. Toby Green, absolutely outstanding. 2 goals, 15 possessions. Well done, GWS.
Wrapped up like a mummy again, Toby Green. But he looked... You said that he wouldn't have the second-year blues. I think you might be onto something, because in traffic, he's like that, like a Pendlebury or someone else who finds so much time and space in traffic, and he uses it really well. Creates spread from the contest, I should say, because he's the one in and under grabbing it out of there. So he's a real future star of the competition. Yeah, that's the first time I've ever honestly believed that.
No, he's a fantastic player. Big Patton kicked 2. Jezza Cameron kicked one goal 3 as well, so he could have been a bit better there. But those 2 guys, I heard it on the call. They are going to be the best 1-2 punch, or up there with the best in about 5 years. They're both equally good in their own right, but what makes them so good is they're both so different in their forward approach. And Dermot Brereton was talking on the call. Of course, he works with them up there. The only thing they need to sort out is just their positioning and not leading for the same ball. And if they do that, they will both have outstanding times up there.
Well, I reckon they should. She's not the coach, as we know, Leon Cameron. Not officially, but unofficially. I reckon you should give him a run in the back line just to see, and put him on your Nick Rewalds in particular, and Jonathan Brown, and let them see the type of running patterns that are required, and that let them learn a few tricks type thing. Playing forward is one of the toughest positions mentally, I think, there is, in terms of reading the play and knowing where to be in the right spots and that type of thing. And for a young kid to come in and be expected to learn it himself right away, it's going to take a lot longer than if they learn off somebody, and they don't have an older mentor who knows a really good running patterns in terms of forwards, key forwards. So I'd play him in the back line for 10 games this year.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, I don't mind it. I mean, you learn. There's only so much coaches can teach you at the end of the day, and look, if they can, as you said, go out there and get that experience off guys like, well, you couldn't play him on Travis Cloke probably because they'd be too strong, but Nick Rewalt and guys like that, yeah, for sure, I totally agree with you. But look, that's it for round 1. Of course, next week we get into the full games, which is, I think, what everyone really wants to see. A proper full-length game where we're really going to get to look at some guys for a whole game, not just a little flash in the pans. The ones I pick out here is interesting, just looking down. Essendon and Richmond could be a really good game.
Is it untelevised?
I'm not sure. I think it's out at Whoop Whoop. I'll just say Whoop Whoop because I'm not sure.
Timbuktu.
Yeah, so it might not be.
It'll be competitive though, which is what we want to see. Essendon, as you wouldn't know, but they have had a torrid time of late.
Yeah,
and
they did look all right in the NAB Cup. I did see their first game. I mean, they're not a bad side. They've got some good guys on that list, but
they're a top 8 side.
Yeah. But I mean, just hope this thing either something happens and it doesn't drag out, because that would be the worst. If nothing happened by the time the season started and they're still investigating, that would be the worst thing possible for the league.
Yep.
But yeah, just other ones to look at here. I really want to see Adelaide again. Of course, we've talked about them slipping down. I'm not convinced with them. What have we got on Sunday here? West Coast Collingwood, I think, will be a really good game as well. One to look for, and I'm sure we'll dissect that next week.
Yeah, big Q Lynch against his all side will be interesting.
Yeah,
and Sharon Bellingham as well,
who played quite well.
Yep.
Quite interesting haircut the boy's got going over there since he's gone west. But look, pre-season's a great time to see many shocking trims. Travis Cloke has got a long, sweepy bit at the front, and the rest short. I'm not sure what's going on there either, but look, they earn a lot of money, so they can do what they want.
Speaking of shocking trims, for the BST fans at home that know me personally, they'll know that about a few years ago I brought bow ties back into fashion, and I'm just putting it out there that I may have brought the 7 years in Tibet beard back into fashion as well. Will Schofield, Chris Maston, Cade Simpson, there are guys out there who are showing some great form in their bearded work, and I'll take credit.
Well, you can take all the credit you want. Just news that has just filtered in here. Don't say we don't keep you updated, but Franklin has been given the all clear by the match review panel for that mislaid arm that slapped. I can't remember who it slapped across the face, but someone from Gold Coast. Yeah. Shaw, maybe. I think it was Shaw. Yeah, but that's good that he's given the all clear.
And that happens far too often with Buddy, doesn't it? She gets in some little elbows and little jabs, and
well, he's got a lot of carryover points as well, which doesn't really do him a lot of favours. But look, I mean, that's NAB Cup 2, week 2 done. We're getting closer and closer to the real thing, which is what we like. Next week, as I've said, plenty of good games, and we'll be back here to dissect them all the notable ones.
Good to have you back. What did you think of the shows while we were away? What did you think of the individual AFL show last week?
I liked it. Very brave. Yes. Yes. I got back about the time you were shooting that, so I was in no state to shoot. So you were very brave there. Michael Coleman was very.
That's what we wanted to get to. Yeah.
Was very brave.
For a 4-time premier and BNF winner, Michael Coleman.
Yes, he doesn't like to spruik about it too much, does he? But
no.
Look, Michael did a great job stepping in, and I thank him for that. And a little Harlem Shake as well, Joey, I did see.
The Harlem Shake tried to jump on the bandwagon, the viral bandwagon. We're talking, millions of views here, and we managed about 20. So, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, well, maybe more people would have been a good shake, but. Look, guys.
You're going to be here.
Well, yeah, I do need to be here, but silly. Let's wrap this up before we get too long. Look, guys, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure as always, and from Joey and myself, it's been a pleasure as always, and thank you for joining us.